a tragic chapter in the history of the subcontinent. April 13th, 1919, the day when the soft, gentle rays of the sun were bathed in blood. Who knew that this evening would turn into the darkest night in history? A night that would leave scars on the body of humanity, scars that even time could not erase. After World War I, the British imposed the Rowlett Act, 1919, which allowed arrests without trial. The governor of Punjab, Sir Michael O'Dwyer, opened a new chapter of oppression by enforcing policies of forced military recruitment and economic exploitation. By April 1919, strikes and protests against the Rowlett Act had begun across India. On April 10th, prominent leaders Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Sat Yapal were arrested, further fueling public anger. In response, on April 13th, 1919, thousands, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, gathered at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Estimates suggest 3,800 people were present. April 13th was a Sunday, the sacred Sikh festival of Baisakhi. Sikhs had come from far and wide to bathe in the holy waters of Amritsar. Brigadier General Dyer had orders from Punjab Governor Sir Michael Francis to prevent any political gathering at any cost. Despite public announcements banning assemblies, people decided to raise their voices against British cruelty and record their protest. At 4 p.m., Brigadier General Dyer arrived at the gathering with 90 soldiers and 2 armored vehicles mounted with machine guns. A military aircraft also flew over the site, a sight most had never seen before. Some, frightened, chose to leave. Then, Brigadier General Dyer shouted, "Gurkhas, right? 59th left." Half the Gurkha and Baloch soldiers knelt, while the other half stood ready. A section of the crowd screamed, "They're here," and tried to flee. Someone yelled, sit down, they won't fire." But without warning, Dyer ordered his men to shoot. The soldiers took aim and began raining bullets. Screams, falling bodies, and blood-soaked pathways. Everything turned into a horrific scene. People collapsed as bullets struck them. The kneeling soldiers picked their targets carefully. Not a single bullet was wasted. Dyer then ordered them to reload and fire where the crowd was thickest. Even those lying down were not spared. People ran in terror, but there was no escape. They rushed toward a narrow alley, only to be gunned down. Piles of corpses formed. Everywhere, gunfire, fear, pain, and death. Chaos erupted. People tried climbing the walls, but were shot down. Those who fell were fired upon again. The high walls and narrow exits turned the garden into a death trap. Some sought shelter behind a peepal tree, but Dyer ordered the tree itself to be shot. Dyer only stopped firing when his men ran low on ammunition. He left without arranging any medical aid. Later, around 1,650 bullet casings were recovered from the site. That night, the wounded received no help. No one was allowed to retrieve the dead or injured. After the massacre, Dyer imposed a curfew, cutting off electricity and water. At 10 p.m., he returned to ensure compliance. The streets were silent, but the city was awake, drowned in fear and horror. Even children were not spared. Writer Kapil Deo Malviya, in his book Open Rebellion in Punjab, mentioned 13-year-old Madan Mohan, shot in the head while playing. Barper Singh, just 4 years old, recalled his grandfather throwing him over a 7-foot wall to save him. His arm broke, but he survived. For days, he couldn't go to the hospital, fearing being labeled a rebel. Author Kishore Desai narrated the story of Ratan Devi, who lived near Jallianwala Bagh. Close enough to hear the gunfire from her bedroom, she rushed to the garden in panic. Before her lay heaps of corpses. Searching for her husband, she found his lifeless body. 2 boys promised to bring a cot to carry him home, but never returned. A Sikh man helped her drag the body to a dry spot, as blood pooled everywhere. With a stick in hand to ward off stray dogs, she cradled her husband's head in her lap, waiting all night. Nearby, a 12-year-old boy, severely wounded, begged her, "Mataji, don't leave me." Later, he asked for water, but there was none. Then his voice faded and his breath stopped. By morning, vultures circled overhead and stray dogs tore at the corpses. The heat made the bodies rot. Three months later, when a Congress delegation visited, the stench still lingered. Contractor Lala Nathuram told the commission that vultures attacked him as he searched for his son and brother. He estimated at least 1,500 dead. Butcher Muhammad Ismail testified finding Khairuddin Telhai's body, his 6-month-old baby still clutched in his arms. Later, at a function, Punjab's Chief Secretary J.P. Thompson revealed that Dyer took just 3 seconds to order the firing. On stage, a bank clerk, Brij Bihari, recited a poem, The Plea. The Hunter Commission was formed to investigate. Eyewitnesses testified. Former Indian diplomat Navtej Sarna wrote that Dyer's colleague Briggs tried pulling his sleeve to stop him, but failed. British Superintendent Rehill, present during the firing, told the commission. The air was thick with blood and dust. The firing was so brutal, eyes and intestines were torn out. I couldn't bear to watch and left. Later, Rehill's niece wrote in her diary that he turned to alcoholism, never the same again. Initially, the British took no action. Under pressure, the Hunter Commission criticized Dyer, but the House of Lords later called him wronged and pardoned him. The Hunter Commission reported 379 dead, 337 men, 41 children. Dyer first admitted 200, then 400 to 500. Eyewitnesses estimated at least 1,000 dead with thousands wounded. Fear kept many families from reporting deaths. The Art and Cultural Heritage Trust and Partition Museum identified 502 victims, with 45 unrecognizable, totaling at least 547 dead. Mahatma Gandhi returned his medals. Rabindranath Tagore renounced his knighthood. Nehru later wrote in his autobiography, "In late 1919, I traveled from Amritsar to Delhi by night train. At dawn, I realized my compartment was full of British officers. One boasted loudly of his bravery, turning a rebellious city to ashes. Soon, I knew it was General Dyer. Dyer shamelessly boasted in his report, 'I crushed the rebellion.' He was only dismissed, never punished. He died in England in 1927. The Hunter Commission mildly reprimanded him, while the House of Lords praised him. Unrest spread across Punjab, and martial law was imposed 2 days later. This massacre shattered the last hope Indians had in the British. The outrage fueled the freedom struggle, and within 28 years, the British were forced to leave. Jallianwala Bagh remains an unforgettable testament to colonial brutality. The bullet-marked walls, the well where people jumped to their deaths, all bear witness to humanity's darkest cruelty. The blood-soaked soil of Jallianwala Bagh still cries out, "Never forget."